everybody. Welcome to the Button Eyez podcast. My name is Luke Gauchi, and for today's episode, I have a very special guest with me. The name Mary Grace Pisani is synonymous on the Maltese island with luxury haute couture and exquisite fashion design. So, Mary Grace, could you kindly introduce the listeners to your fashion house, especially those who are new to your brand?
Yes, definitely. First of all, my brand is called Cessani. Cessani comes from my name. It comes from Grace, the last two initials of Grace, CE, and Pisani, which is Sani. So it is Cessani. Officially, we started in 2011, but as Mary Grace, my career started off when I was 21 years old, and I was always in love with what I do, with fashion and with everything that is related to textiles and to soft furnishings.
And when you initially launched, what was the reaction from the public?
For the first time that we participated in the fashion awards, we were rewarded, Sasani was rewarded the best upcoming designer at that time as well.
You've mentioned how it's not always easy starting a business, especially in the fashion industry coming from a small island. Could you maybe elaborate a bit about that?
One of the reasons is because we live on a very, very small island, obviously limited to certain events, to certain exposure, and obviously is something that you have to struggle 100 times much more than being on an international level.
Completely.
Yes, it doesn't mean that we are less talented. It's not that's what I'm saying, but it's because um, here in Malta, we don't have, like, for example, the Met Gala.
Do you think that even resource-wise, since we're an island, we are limited in what we can access?
Yes. Unfortunately, our industry is very, very expensive to maintain.
Mhm.
Especially if it's something new, if it's a new brand, you have to have a very, very good backup of finance to literally compete with giants.
It's a long process essentially because you're basically having to create something, I believe, where you're at a sort of not disadvantage, but there's more restrictions in your
Yes,
way.
yes.
And especially, I think, in the luxury industry, looking at your portfolio, I can see a lot of haute couture, a lot of luxury products, and I'm sure that those resources are difficult to find.
Um, Basically, our focuses on items which are not quantity. We only cater for that one-to-one business, if you know.
Experience.
Yes, we love giving experiences. We love creating fashion, if we can call that fashion, because I don't like the word fashion, in my opinion. I always use style.
So, kind of like the saying, fashion trends come and go, but like style always stays. Am I right?
What we do with our clients, look, give them their own style. Sometimes people know what they want, but they don't know how to style themselves. It's not like coming to a normal or to a fashion brand, which you come, you see a dress and you buy it. No, that is definitely what we do. On the contrary, you come, we discuss. I have a very clear image of my first interview with the client, and then we sketch what style she wants.
There's
So
an experience behind the brands. It's not just separate from the consumer and the brand itself, but rather it's a relationship.
exactly.
Amazing. And even, do you think there's a level of exclusivity when it comes to the service that you are offering?
That is the first word we use.
Mhm.
We don't use fabrics for more than one client. We don't do any design for more than one client. Even if you are doing a haute haute couture dress, the fabric that we use not be used to another lady. Will only be one client that will have that dress. We will not repeat. We will not repeat any dresses like the dress that this client opted for.
Wow. So when we're talking about experience, it's perfectly curated for that one person. So that even though the brand is the same, everyone is going to have their own unique, exclusive experience.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
that's amazing. And I can see, um, going on to the experience itself, I can see certain products in your portfolio where culture, the Maltese culture, has been a source of influence for you and for the creative process. Is that from the brand side, or do you have a lot of clients coming and requesting a Maltese inspired garment or dress or haute couture piece?
We intend to grow bigger. We intend to grow bigger, not in quantity, but in our style. And one of the reasons which I emphasize on is that we cannot forget our roots. Roots is our island. Um, I cannot be one of those many fashion designers abroad. Imagine if I go abroad and I'm one of those designers, I will be lost out there. But if I carry my roots with me, but our history is more important than the George Cross. Our history goes back to many things, goes back to many years, and our history has a lot of wealth in various cultures. In my opinion, when we tend to go international, which is in our pipeline, wherever we are, if we're in Italy, if we're in France, wherever we are, Malta has a bit of that country. And that is what we intend to do. We intend to take Malta in that country and make them remember that our past had something to do with that specific country, if you know what I mean.
Completely. It's a part of the brand DNA. It's a part of the storytelling aspect. And do you feel that when you are a luxury brand, you can offer a level of storytelling that most high street brands cannot offer?
Yes. Look, I always try to do something related to a story. More than I give experiences in style, there is a way of educating people through style. There is a way of highlighting some specific moments that we pass through in
This
our.
as in part of our cultural history.
For example, lately we created a set of earrings, a pair of earrings together with a pendant. And this was dedicated to the story of St. Paul the shipwreck. That is where Malta started. That is where Malta became famous because of St. Paul. So what we did, we created these beautiful jewelry. And on our FB page, we described why this.
And I even saw the black lace collection on your Facebook page. And it really brought me back to when I was younger. And I would spend time with my grandma, and she would do the bitzilla, which is the Maltese word for lace practice. And can you walk me through the experience and the idea behind that lace collection?
We handmade, we embroidered the George Cross in the lace colors. It was black, white, ivory, and red. And that was the first time that Cessani launched its collection in New York. We did very well. Everyone was asking. Basically, a lot of people didn't know where was Malta. I really want to present my country because, as I told you, look, Cessani is not Cessani without Malta. Cessani focuses on the education and on the passion that evolved throughout the years on our island. And when you see the wealth that is in our history. The wealth in our history is the wealth in our product. That is our equation. And we want to transfer that to our audience and to our audience. We start with our locals, which are the Maltese, obviously. And we want to focus on international level, not as a commercial company, but as a brand that wants to make awareness of what is Malta is about through our style.
Yeah, for sure. And when you are researching to do your next collection, you are taking the time to properly understand the message behind it. When nowadays, everyone is so quick with their fashion cycle that sometimes brands don't even consider the story or the history of the things they are putting out there into the public.
No. For example, even lately, we're offering services for men, and the first item that we launched for men was a blazer with the architecture of the Cathedral of St. John together with the George Cross. And really made a big hit. It was our first, and we really did well. Why? Not because just the jacket, the blazer was lovely. When they saw it, they associated with our culture.
Because do you think that craftsmanship, as we said, where time is really going fast and people are getting so carried away in their daily lives, is there a risk for such tradesmen and craftsmanship to be lost?
Yes, 100%. Actually, not to be lost. We already lost. We already lost it. We already lost. Okay, so this is a big question, because this takes us back again to our history. If you go to our history, all we had in Malta were craftsmen. Whether it's a seamstress, whether it's a goat, everyone,
Everything.
everything was made locally. Everything was made locally. Nowadays, because obviously life has changed, the world has changed, nothing is being made locally, and we lost it all. Why? Because we are looking at quantities, we are looking at the financial part to be more rich, to get rich, and obviously we lost the quality. But when I remember all this, I really get hurt, because if you go to Paris, if you go to Milan, for example, I can quote Karl Lagerfeld. Karl was always emphasizing on the need of working in your own country. For example, the embroideries, the seamstresses. He used to emphasize on the fact that it has to be made local. You know what I mean?
Completely. And do you think, because during quarantine, I've seen a lot of people take it as an opportunity to reevaluate their life and to try new things. Do you think that there has been a small shift in people's perception, and people post-COVID are looking for that local, are looking for that artisan, homemade, raw?
100%. Yes, thank God. People are going back to some roots. Let's not say all the roots, but yes, lately we have experienced a big number of clients that want that don't want what we call the retail norm. COVID has switched off everything, and all of a sudden, now that everything is back to normal, they realize that that it's not materialistic, that's just materialistic. You need to have something that is precious to you.
Exactly. Yes. What was the experience? You mentioned New York and Paris, and you mentioned Fashion Week. How important was it for you to represent your brand on international waters? We kind of spoke about it, but for your brand specifically, what did it mean to you?
Okay. For me, it first of all, I went to New York, and we also had a fashion show in Paris. Um, I wanted to test the waters. Actually, I wanted to know on which levels other international designers go through.
Mhm.
When I was there, I to be quite honest with you, look, I expected more.
Fair enough.
Um, because sometimes you think that because you are in New York or because you are in Paris, it's very important.
Mhm.
And really, we really did well. I mean, we had a lot of photos from Getty Images. We had two very, very still customers that wanted to know about our brand and wanted to promote
Mhm.
us. It's very, very good. But I think, in fact, we stopped because of COVID, and we did not consider to go again because we want to have our brand to be first locally popular.
Fair enough. So you're trying to, correct me if I'm wrong, you want to support the local community,
Yeah.
raise awareness, and generate a community for your brand in a local atmosphere, a local sphere, before even contemplating going abroad.
Yes, 100%. Because once you're abroad and you have all the locals with you, I want to get the people out there, the Maltese out there, to be part of us. This
Mhm.
is what it's all about. It's being part of a family. We need to be a very, very big family. Okay. So once I have that, and that we have a target number of those people, then we are strong enough to leap into the outside world.
Well, thank you very much. It was an absolute pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for coming on the podcast. And if anyone wishes to learn more about the Cessani brand, I highly recommend that they check out their socials at Cessani Fashion.